You're doubting whether he's God. God don't need you to tell him if he's God. God's God whether you think he's God or not. It's up to you to believe the word of God. I want to take you through this here. Watch this here. Her faith was in, I'm going to believe first. The whole pattern of the word of God is the same. I'm going to believe first. If I believe first, then if I can get to the crowd, I'm healed. If I believe first, then I touch it, I'm healed. That's where she was. But watch this here. There was another man right before her in the same text, Jairus. He said to Jesus, if you come to my house, my daughter is sick to death. God, I know she'll be healed. Watch this. He believed, but he believed that if Jesus came to the house, there was no doubt she's healed. What did they believe? They believed first. One believed, if I touch the hem of his garment, I'm healed. The other believed, if you come to my house, we're at different levels of faith. But regardless of what level of faith you're at, whatever you believe first for, God will honor it. But then there was another man who wasn't even in church. He was a centurion soldier. And he saw Jesus. He said, I know who you are. You're a man of authority. You're a son of God. You're a son of David. I know who you are. And Jesus said, well, let me come. He said, I got a soldier who's at home. He's sick unto death. And Jesus said, let me go. I'll come and I'll heal him. He said, no, I don't want you to come to my house. He said, I don't live right. He said, I'm ashamed. I haven't been in church. I don't live right. He said, but look, he said, he said, this is what I want you to do. All I need you to do right where you are, don't even come to my house. Speak the word only. So y'all miss it. It depends on where your level of faith is. Some folk level of faith is you're going to physically have Christ at your house, or some folk level of faith is you're going to catch his garment, and then some folk are speaking to the atmosphere and say, speak the word only. Don't even come to my house. And I believe at that moment my servant is healed. And Jesus says, I've not seen this kind of faith in all the church. But watch this. All three of them had to believe first. Not wait till you get here. Some of y'all won't get a house because you look at your money and say, I ain't gonna be able to, I can't figure out how I can afford this. God didn't ask you to figure out how you afford it. I need a car and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. That's the problem. You don't know how you're gonna do it. You don't believe God for it. When you believe God for it, you will go on the car lot with bad credit, messed up credit, and got the audacity to ask for an A1 line of credit. The natural don't make sense. They say, you're stupid. Know your credit messed up, and you're going to go in a parking lot asking for a car and say, I don't want this car unless y'all give me the best interest rate you got. And they pull up your credit score. They say, I don't know how it's going to happen. Well, I'm not going to purchase a car with any other but what it said it was. And you sat there for 2-3 hours. They go back in the room, back and forth. They come back out. Well, we've knocked it down by 1%. No, that wasn't what God told me. And you stay there for another hour, they come back, they peeping around the corner, she's still here, she ain't left yet. Folk don't believe. You come out of there with 2% or less, they can't understand it. It's because you believe when you out there, this is what God was gonna do. If you ever start trusting God, watch this. Speak the word only. But watch the pattern. They all had to believe God. They all had to believe God. Let me show you something a little different. Look at Matthew 13:54. Jesus went home to go teach in his own hometown. He went to go preach the word of God. I want you to see something. You got to see this. And when he was come to his own country, he taught them into the synagogue, in so much that they were astonished and said, whence has thou this man this wisdom and these mighty works? Look at verse 55. It's not this the carpenter's son. It's not this Joseph's son. This is where he grew up at. These was his earthly parents. It's not this his mother called Mary. His brother was James and Joses and Simon and Judas. They there. But they know too much. Look at verse 56. And his sister, they live around the corner. That's what they said. They're not all with us. Oh, they live around the corner. Whence then has this man with all these things? What are he talking about? He got all this power. I watched the boy grow up. They saw Jesus the man and not Jesus the God. I want you to see this. Look at verse 57. And they were offended. Jesus said a prophet is not honored in his own country. Look at verse 58. And he couldn't do any miracles there. Wait a second, God. You are God all by yourself. Why couldn't you do any miracles? Because they didn't believe me for it. Why haven't I got the blessing? It's not me, God said. They didn't believe me. What did I tell you the pattern was? I got to believe first. He's there, all power in his hands. Sickness is all around him, but they know too much about it. The natural eyes messed him up.